Croeso pawb to the Critics' Choice PSN sale. This sale ends on the 17th of February, so that'll be your last day to pick up these deals. Okay guys, let's look at the games. Our first game in this sale is Batman Arkham Collection. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, but it's a compilation of older games than that, so keep that in mind. It's on a 67% discount for a price of £16.49, which is really good for 3 AAA, great quality, reasonably new games. Now be careful with these games because they're all on sale individually and they're stupidly priced. Like buying one of them is nearly as expensive as buying all 3. So don't waste your money on them individually, buy them as a bundle. This collection includes the first 3 Batman Arkham games, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. The first 2 games are remastered, and all 3 games come with all DLC, so it's a ridiculously good bundle really. These games are really good, really popular games, and that's for a reason. They're not just popular because of the Batman license. All 3 games are third-person action games, with the first one being set in Arkham Asylum, and the second 2 are more open world, being set in Gotham itself. If you're looking for a superhero game to play, all 3 of these are great, and all 3 of them together are such a good price that you can't go far wrong. If you're a Batman fan, a superhero fan, open world game fan, all of the above, you should definitely take a look at these because they're well worth it. 3 great quality games at a really good bundle price. The next game is a bit of a maybe. Borderlands 3 PS4 and PS5 edition. It was released in 2019, so it was only 2 years old. And is on a 72% discount for a price of £16.79, which is at the high end of where I like to look at, which is why it's a maybe. And pretty much the only reason it's on this list is because it's the first time I've seen it discounted properly. Usually it's way more than this in the sales. Borderlands is a first-person looter-shooter series, and this game has 2-player local co-op and 4-player online co-op. And the story revolves around vault hunters, who will look into open ancient vaults of treasure to make their fortune. This series is pretty popular and well known for being a bit grindy, but ultimately a lot of fun if you like looters-shooters. If you like picking up gear, finding better weapons, min-maxing gun builds, that sort of thing, you'll get a lot out of this game series. But ultimately, because of the price, it comes down to how much of a fan you are of this series, because if you're not, I can't recommend it at this price. But if you're a fan and you've been waiting for it to go on sale, this is your first opportunity to pick it up on a half-decent sale at least. But me personally, I'd wait longer if I were you, because there's always a better deal than this price. Up next is Dying Light. It was released in 2017, so it's 4 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £10.49, which is pretty decent. Although this price is on PS Plus only, so if you don't have PS Plus I really wouldn't consider this game because it's not worth the extra money. Definitely only pick it up if you've got a PS Plus account. This game is a first-person open-world zombie survival game, where you're in a city that's been overrun by zombies in the apocalypse, and you are holed up with a group of survivors. And the game revolves around you leaving the base in order to go on missions, for various different reasons. And one of the key mechanics of this is the day-night cycle, which is where the name of the game comes from, because when that sun goes down and it becomes nighttime, the zombies are a lot more dangerous. They get faster, stronger, just more dangerous in every way possible. So a lot of the time you want to avoid the night if possible. I know zombie games are a bit over with now, and if you're not fed up with them then you might want to check this out because it's a decent game, and it's at a pretty decent price if you've got PS Plus. But if you're bored of zombies, then move on to something else, because there's plenty of sales on right now. Up next, we have the Far Cry 4 and Far Cry Primal bundle. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on a 70% discount for a price of £13.49. These are both first-person shooter games, and in Far Cry 4 is set in the Himalayas, where you get caught up in a civil war to overthrow an evil dictator. The second game included, Far Cry Primal, is set in the Stone Age, and you're the last survivor of your tribe, and you have to craft and fight off predators and other tribes in order to become the apex predator of the Stone Age. They're from the Far Cry series, obviously, which is a pretty long-running and well-thought-of game series, with Far Cry 4 and Primal being 2 of the good ones. And I particularly like this bundle because Far Cry Primal is way different than most of the Far Cry games, so if you're going to get 2 in a bundle, this is a pretty good variety to have in a bundle. Most of Far Cry involves attacking and overtaking bases, with the Primal one having some different systems than the other. There's a lot of animal-based stuff, and then obviously dinosaurs and cavemen and that sort of thing as well. Basically, if you're looking for a good first-person shooter action game, then this is a good option for you. I would say if you're interested in more of an open world, do your own thing sort of game series, then pick up these. But if you're looking for more of a story-led game, then you might want to look at the Metro bundle instead, because that's on sale too, and it's much cheaper than this as well, so that might be a factor also. Either way, there's a lot of good first-person shooters to choose from at the moment, so take your pick. We're looking at a fighter next, Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. It was released in 2013, so it's 8 years old, and is on an 85% discount for a price of £7.49, which is pretty decent. This edition includes 6 extra characters, 30 extra skins, and 60 Star Lab missions, so there's a lot of extra content in this bundle. This is a fighting game where all the characters are DC heroes and villains, so if you're a big fan of DC Comics, or superheroes in general, that might be very interesting to you, because you'll definitely love fighting Batman vs Superman and the like. I'm not a massive fan of fighter games. I much prefer old school 2D ones like Street Fighter 2, but this was free on PS Plus a long time ago, so I've played it and completed the story, and I gotta say the story wasn't bad, and the gameplay was pretty decent. So if you're looking for a decent fighter, this may be something you'll consider, especially if you're into superheroes and DC, because that'll be the cherry on the cake for you. Sid Meier's Civilization 6 is our next game. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £11.24, which is really good value, because it includes 4 DLC packs, which are the Viking Scenario Pack, and then the Poland, Austria and Persia Civilizations, and their Scenario Packs as well. So you get a ton of extra content thrown in with this edition. This game is a legendary turn-based strategy game, which anyone that owns a PC for gaming would definitely know of, and even if you don't have a PC for gaming, you've probably heard of it somewhere. This is a legendary series where you take command of a country, usually commanded by a popular figure from history like Napoleon or Gandhi, and then it's up to you to make your way to victory through multiple different ways, such as diplomacy or war. There's a lot of different ways you can win the game. But basically, if you like turn-based games, especially on global scales, you'll get a lot out of this game, and you'll probably sink hours and hours into it. I love turn-based strategy games, although I've never been that much of a fan of Civilization, but still it's so legendary and well thought of that it's worth mentioning, especially on a discount this good. If you like turn-based strategy games, you really should take a look at this deal, but if not, don't worry, there's plenty more deals for you to look at. The Council Complete Season is our next game. It was released in 2018, so it's 3 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £4.99, which is really good. This is a story-based adventure game, and is set in 1973, where you are invited to a private island gathering, alongside high-profile guests, such as Napoleon and George Washington, and while you're there your mother mysteriously vanishes, and the other guests clearly have their own hidden agendas. So there's a lot of intrigue and mystery in this game, as you investigate what's happened to your mother, and why all of these people are gathered together on this island, and what they really want. There are multiple choices in conversation that changes the direction of the story, and results in different endings and story paths. So if you're a fan of multiple playthroughs, you'll love this game, because you'll practically get a different outcome every time. Especially considering you can pick different classes for your main character, and those classes determine what your options are in conversations. So there's a lot to consider when playing this game. And for those who like stories, especially ones with multiple choices and endings, there's a lot for you to love in this game. All in all, it's a great game. It includes the whole season, so all 5 episodes, and it's complete. So if you're a fan of the Life is Strange games, or any of the games made by Telltale before they went bankrupt, then you should take a look at this, because you'll probably love everything about it. Up next is The Sinking City. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on a 75% discount for a price of £12.49, which is pretty decent because it's quite new. This game is a third-person survival horror game, and it's inspired by H.P. Lovecraft, where you play a personal investigator exploring the half-submerged city of Oakmont. You investigate cases with multiple ways to solve each case, which is great for replayability, and along the way you try to uncover the truth of what has possessed the city and the minds of its inhabitants. And if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, you'll know what to expect with this game. Lots of insanity, literally, and Cthulhu-style monsters. When it came out, it got mixed reviews. Some loved it, some hated it. but I'd imagine if you're a fan of survival horror games and especially Lovecraft, then you'll get a lot out of this game. But if survival horror isn't your thing, then take a look around. There's plenty more deals for you to look at. My star buy is next, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Game of the Year Edition. I know it's been my best buy before, but hey, you'll see why it is again. It was released in 2016, so it's 5 years old, and it's on an 80% discount for a price of £6.99. Yeah, you heard that, under £7. That's so cheap for such an amazing game, with so much content. It's unbelievable, really. This game is a third-person action adventure, and it's from a legendary series that you really should have heard of. I mean, even if you don't play games, it's got a really popular Netflix series, so you should have heard of it at some point. This game throws in all 16 DLCs and 2 expansion packs, which were the Heart of Stone and Blood and Wine expansions, so there really is a massive amount of content in this edition of the game. And for anyone that doesn't know, this game's a third-person action RPG, where you play a monster slayer for hire and embark on a journey to find the Child of Prophecy, who is said to be a living weapon of untold destruction. This game is legendary for a reason, and if I was a bit more cynical than I am, I would say that the reason it's on such a good discount is because CD Projekt Red need the money right now, because Cyberpunk's release was a disaster, and with the pending court cases and all the refunds they had, they could do with a bit of extra moolah right now. So if you're willing to overlook the dodgy way they've treated people lately, then there's a lot of value to be had in this game, and that's why it's my star buy. Also, on a side note, they said that when the PS5 edition eventually releases, if you already own the PS4 version, you'll get it for free, which is a really good deal. I picked it up myself because I want to play it on PS5 when they get that version out. Either way, it's my star buy. Take a look at it if you don't own it. It's an amazing game at an awesome price, like unbelievably awesome. And the last game I have for you was World War Z. It was released in 2019, so it's 2 years old, and it's on an up to 75% discount for a price of £7.49 or £6.24 if you've got PS Plus. This game is a first-person shooter, and it's really made for co-op. It has 4-player online co-op, the whole campaign is co-op playable, and it also has a bunch of PvE modes as well. For any of you guys that played games for a while, this is basically a rip-off of Left 4 Dead, where 4 people have to make it through a zombie apocalypse. There's a ton of special zombies as well. Big, hard-to-kill ones, small, jumpy ones, ones with abilities, all sorts of things to mix up the action, which you'll be familiar with again if you play Left 4 Dead. Other than that, pick up your gun of choice, machine guns, shotguns, turrets, all sorts of weapon variety. These games are pretty simple, you shouldn't be looking for an in-depth story or anything like that, but they really excel at co-op play. If you've got a bunch of friends to play this with, you'll have a really good time. And if not, you'll probably have a lot of good time with strangers as well. Basically, it's a decent cooperative first-person shooter, and at this price is worth considering. Be careful though, because there's another edition of this game on sale right now, and it includes some DLC, but I looked at it and the DLC is not worth the extra money. I'd recommend just sticking with this default edition instead. And that's all the games I have for you from the Critics' Choice PSN sale. What did you think of the games I picked? Did I pick good ones? Did I pick bad ones? Were there games that I missed that should have been included? Did I pick a good star buy? Or do you think something else deserved it more? Throw all of your complaints down in the comments and we can argue about it later. So I hope you guys found some games that you're interested in. But more importantly, I hope you saved a lot of money. I'll see you guys in the next sale. Hoil Vour.